we were looking in all the past sessions at the basics and fundamentals of investing, of trading. But today we will be focusing on the more interesting part of investing, which is fundamental analysis, analyzing businesses, analyzing companies, and analyzing the current analyzing the current environment and economy of our country. Why is it so important? Because if you remember, in one session we looked at, okay, what is a share of a company, what is a company at all, and we looked at a company is nothing but a business, right? And the share price increases or decreases based upon how the business is able to perform, right? So if we are looking at stock prices to make money in stock market, if we are looking at stock prices to determine which is a good stock, which is a bad stock, then we are missing out on the key details, because the stock prices itself is dependent upon the business of a company, and the business of a company is in turn dependent on the economy of a country, like the sector that it comes under. That's why in one session we also talked about sector analysis. Why? Because if Indian government thinks that solar is a very important industry for our country's development, and it is giving lot of incentives and lot of government schemes in solar industry, right? Then that sector will grow, and when that sector grows, all the companies in that sector also grow. When chemical industry in India grows because China has shut down all its chemical companies, then when the chemical industry grows, all the companies also in chemical industry grows. This happened in 2017 when chemical industry grew in exponential returns, and all chemical companies became 5x 10x. This happened in solar when in 2022 this shift, the focus came onto renewable energy, the future of energy, and all solar companies gave multi-bagger returns. And now, when we are facing a market crisis, when there is a profit booking in our markets, when all the stocks are crashing, we are now looking at the economy, we are now looking at the stock market, we are now looking at all the companies, and we are trying to figure out which is that next sector which is going to give us that returns. In simple words, which is that sector, which is that business which has the most potential in the next 2 and 5 years, right? And that's what we are looking at here. So we are not looking at stocks, we are looking at businesses. So this session is not only important for someone who wants to buy a stock, this is important for everyone who wants to understand India's economy. This is important for everyone who wants to understand how to do business, because in this session we will go in very detail into how a hospital works and how the hospital sector in India works in very great detail. And with that business sense, we will be analyzing 5 to 6 big major hospital companies in India at the very end, and you will be analyzing with this information. So I highly encourage you to have a pen, have a note, and write some notes. I will also give you some pointers with which you will be analyzing those 6 and 8 big major hospital companies in India. So first of all, let's look at why India matters, right? And is what is the growth trajectory in this world that we are looking at. So first of all, we are looking at a very futuristic world, a world that is growing in technology, a world that is where breakthroughs are coming every month. There is AI, there is art, there is robots, humanoid robots coming, there is electric vehicles coming. So we are disrupting this world every month, and there are new and new companies, big and big companies happening, right? If you look at the world's GDP after COVID in 2020, we are in a very uptrend, and who is the leader of this new world? India. because Indian economy is kind of carrying the world economy. We are becoming a manufacturing hub for the world. We are already the consultant for the world. The Indian GDP is now one of the leading GDP growth rates in the entire world. And when you have a country that is growing in such size, when every citizen is now having a considerable amount of income in their hands, right? There is a need for a very robust healthcare system in that country. But if you look at India's current healthcare scenario, there are two charts that I have in front of you. First is the healthcare expenditure percentage versus GDP. So if you see, Germany spends 12% of their GDP on healthcare. India spends only 3% of their GDP on healthcare. That's one of the reasons is because India is the cheapest healthcare provider in the world. But still, this percentage of GDP is very low, and we understand this because in our day-to-day experience also we have seen if some mm, ailment happened to our parents or our relatives, they say no need to go to hospital, no need to go to a doctor, it will happen, I know how to treat it. So until until the last 2 years, when this new generation of this 20 to 40 years of demographic, which is working in IT companies, which is earning considerable income, they are very much conscious about their health, their diet, and and they are doing regular checkups. So they are not ignoring small to small ailments. So this is something that we have experienced, that this trend is emerging. And so this data that is in front of you, which says that India is spending very low amount on healthcare. Again, there is data that number of hospital beds per 10,000 population. Like if you see, Russia has 71 hospital beds for every 10,000 population. However, India has only 15, which is lower than Brazil, a small country like Malaysia, right? So, what this data essentially tells us? It tells us that we are a country which is growing. We are a country where we are accumulating money and income, but there is a huge gap in our healthcare infrastructure, right? And one of the most interesting thing in healthcare infrastructure is that, for example, see, if there is a shortage of luxury watches in in our country, and suddenly a lot of people get a lot of income, like what happened after 2024. So it's not very difficult to get new watches into our country, or to manufacture iPhones, for example, right? In record time, in 6 months you can start manufacturing. But commissioning a new hospital takes years. It's not something you can start in 6 months. It's not something you can start in 1 year. It takes 2 to 3 years for a hospital to be, that infrastructure to be there. There are a lot of fixed assets. There are a lot of very technical equipments that needs to be there. There are a lot of approvals from ministries and health standards all to be maintained. And most importantly, having doctors, right, medical staff which are very qualified. So all these factors combined tells us a story. It's not very easy to set up a new hospital. So all the existing hospitals have a very strong business advantage here, because for a new person to start a hospital is difficult. And we'll see this in very great detail going forward. So now that we've understood that what is the scenario, what is the macro outlook of hospitals, I hope everyone was able to understand. If you understood it, send a hell yes in the chat so that we can. Yes, everyone said a yes in the comment. So, oh, yes, yes, yes. So, so first of all, now we understood that we are a country which is growing, and the healthcare infrastructure which is lagging behind. The healthcare infrastructure still has to grow a lot to match with the demand that we have in our country. Now let's look at the hospital industry in a very brief way. There are essentially two types of sectors within the hospital industry. Uh, more than 33%, more than 33% of, if anyone has any doubts, they can put in the chat. Okay, if you want to ask something. So I was telling that hospital industry has major two segments. One is hospitals run by government. There are a lot of government hospitals. You can see in the chart, it's around 33% of the total number of hospitals, which is very low actually. In India, most of the hospitals are run by private trusts and healthcare companies. However, in more developed countries, you have more hospitals which are run by government. So India has a economy where private sector hospitals are more trusted and they have more patient footfall than government hospitals. And I'll also introduce some key financial terms for everyone to understand. So one is a sales growth, one is a profit growth. PAT matlab profit after tax. So there may be some people who are not from finance background. So sales is very important metrics to understand, because धंधा business का धंधा तभी बनता है जब अपने sales होता है, and then you are able to convert that sales into profit, right? So in hospital sector, if you are doing a 12 to 15% sales growth every quarter, especially after 2022, it's a very normal sales growth. So it's not very small thing. Getting 12 to 15% sales growth every quarter is not every sector has this opportunity. That's why we are analyzing hospital sector in the very current time. And now we will look at in all the private hospitals there are four types of hospital, and each type has a different industry specifications attached to it, right? So first is child care hospitals. The when I talk about child care hospitals, I talk about hospitals where newborn children to teenagers are treated there. Why is it different from general hospitals or normal hospitals? Can anyone tell in the chat? Why child? If I'm analyzing business of a child care hospital, so for example, you are analyzing business of hospitals. Now you look at a child care hospital and you look at a normal hospital. Why will you look at child care hospitals differently? Can anyone say? From profit angle, from sales angle, or from business angle? What may be advantages to a child care hospital, and what may be disadvantages to a business if you start a child care hospital? Can anyone tell? Everyone needs to think, because business is all about developing that uncommon sense, right? So I think as if you are going to start a hospital. Now just think, if you are doing a child care hospital, how will your profits be? More or less? What do you think? From a normal hospital, will your profits will be more or less? It's okay, you can take your time, you can think, but it's very important to think. Yes, everyone. Amit. Yes, you can also give your reasons why you think. So Siddharth has given good reason that there will be less patients, so it may be less profitable. So good thinking. Less profitable compared to general hospital. Everyone can give the reasons also. It will be good. It's good, better than others. Long-term relationship, recurring. So Pitwas has told that there will be long-term relationships, because children may need to come to hospital in a very frequent intervals, right? Patients, parents need to go to hospital for 2 3 years when they are very newborn, and not only 2 3 years, probably till 14 15 years. So it's a very recurring business that they are getting. So that's a very good point by Pitwas. Yeah, Kushal has also given, because if a 20 to 40 bracket person has become ill, he may not go to hospital, but a child's health is very much prioritized by the parents. So yes, yes. So everyone has given. So I'm very happy to see these comments because they are very uncommon senses. Not everyone can think about this, but we need to think about business in this way, and this is exactly what becomes our reason for investing in a company. So Pitwas has told that when a baby is born in a hospital, so Pitwas has told that when a baby is born in a hospital, it's seen that parents bring their child to same hospital. Yes, as the doctor knows the history. So as you have a relationship with the doctor, they will be bringing him, because in the still 7 8 years he will be having complications or minor flus and everything. So there is a very recurring relationship with the and however, in case of hospital, general hospitals, you will go to a hospital which is cheaper, but in case of a child care hospital, you will not normally change, right? Yes, specialized, that's the most important thing, specialized intensive care. So specialized intensive care means why? Because child treating a child is a very delicate task, right? It's not, you cannot have you cannot have general wards. You cannot the क्या बोलते हैं, स्वच्छता, all the safety standards needs to be very well maintained. So not every hospital can be a child care hospital. If you are becoming a child care hospital, there are a lot of more approvals you need. There are a lot more things that you need to be taken care of, considered. So starting a child care hospital is not that easy, but because of those things, you can charge the premium to your customers, to you, to people who are coming for treatment to child care hospitals. So if you really see, as Siddharth said, the number of patients will be less. Yes, but the amount of profit from each patient will be more. So we cannot really say that it will be more profitable, less profitable. But one important thing that we have understood from this last 10 minutes, that we have had a very great discussion among ourselves, कि even though number of patients may be less, profit from each patient will be more, right? So because this is a very specialized hospital, so this is what the business angle for, if you look at child care hospitals. And this is exactly what I have in my next slide, but all of you have already told. So that's how this session should go. It should come from you. So if you see, I already told you, okay, the profit margin is more. There is a, in case of child care hospitals, and if you look at another very interesting aspect of child care hospitals is that, as I have shown in the slide, in Q2 or Q3, मतलब rainy season जो है, basically rainy और cold season है, in that season there are more patient intake, because this is a flu season. There is a seasonality aspect in hospitals, as in this kind of hospitals as well. So that's also something we will keep in mind. Why? Because when we will look at P&L, profit and loss of these companies, and we'll look at these 2 quarters, so in these 2 quarters the profit will be more, and in suddenly in Q4 the profit will become less. That doesn't mean they are performing badly. It just means in Q2, Q3 their profits will be more, their sales will be more, which is very normal in case of this hospital. So I just want you to acknowledge that you are understanding the business of hospitals more importantly, right? So these are some examples of children's hospitals. If you have you ever seen Rainbow's Children Hospital? Anyone? This is one of the leading listed hospital in India, Rainbow's Children's Hospital, right? So when you see, when next time you go to Rainbow's Children's Hospital, you are able to understand their business, right? You will be looking at how much they are billing, what is their average bill, what is their average medicine cost, how many, the crowd in a Rainbow's Children Hospital versus an Apollo Hospital, how does it differ? So this is something, a business sense, that's something you develop from your own experience as well. All of you have said from your own experience, so you are perfectly capable of doing that. And there is also Cloud9. When we were studying in Chennai, we had मतलब we have seen all these hospitals. It was very near to our coaching centers, and and all these hospitals will be very well maintained, proper safety standards. And if you see, this is not a very big hospital, but it still serves that many patients. So this was just to give you a feel of the hospitals, and also one of the most important aspect uh, of a hospital is its location, right? If you have a note, you can write this down. The most important aspect of a hospital is its location. And why it is so important? Why can anyone tell me why is location of a hospital is the most important aspect for its business? Can everyone should think about? For quick access, right? Because if you it should be easily accessible to people, because hospitals are mostly emergency cases. If it takes you 1.5 2 hours to reach a hospital, no cost actually. If you have it in a good location, it will cost more actually, because the land cost is more, right? The rent is more, the cost will be more. But uh, the number of patient footfalls will increase. So that's why all hospitals are in prime locations. And also one of the most important thing for more visibility, yes, because just imagine, okay, suppose one of your dear ones has have got some emergency. So you will want to go into an hospital which has good infrastructure, good doctors, and also which is near, right? And then if the case is even more important or even more serious, then you will probably move to a better hospital, right? So having locational advantage is most important. And also another most important aspect related to location is that if a hospital wants to expand its business, right? It wants to open another hospital. What do you think? Suppose you are a hospital. Suppose 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 see suppose you are Rainbow's Children's Hospital, right? And you can see in the map, okay, it has hospitals in Delhi, it has hospitals in Karnataka, two hospitals in Karnataka, there are hospitals in Chennai, right? And Telangana region, right? So suppose you are Rainbow's Children's Hospital. What would you do if you want to open another hospital? Where would you open? In which state? Can anyone think? If you are a hospital, would you open in Karnataka or would you open in Mumbai? I have given you two options. Yes, everyone can give their reasons also. Okay, why would you open in Mumbai? There are more people in Mumbai. That's why, the place where there is more birth rate. So you'll get more patients, more population. Yes. No, you will not open in Mumbai. Why? Because in Mumbai, no one knows what is Rainbow Children's Hospital, right? In Karnataka, everyone knows what is Rainbow Children's Hospital. And as we saw, there is so much less supply of hospitals in India, right? So your brand works in hospitals, at least, brand works locally. So, for example, there is a very famous hospital called Gangaram in Delhi. Do you know about this hospital? Will you ever go to it? But you will go to Apollo because you have heard about the name. You will go to Kims because you know, you will go to Som Hospital because you have heard it in Bhubaneswar. It's in Bhubaneswar, right? Same Som, if it opens in Mumbai, no one will go to Som Hospital because they do not trust a new brand. If it offers less cheaper cost, then someone can go. But if Som wants to open a new hospital, it better open in Barampur rather than in Mumbai. And that's what it did, right? It opened in Barampur. It didn't open in Mumbai. Why? There are more people in Mumbai, but no one will go. But that brand doesn't work in Mumbai anymore. and people go to trusted hospitals, right? They'll more the more this is also a very important business thesis point of hospitals. You should write it down. Why geography and location is more important for hospitals is because when a hospital is expanding, we will look at six hospital chains, and they are expanding, and we will be looking at where they are expanding. If they are expanding in an unknown chartered territory, suppose Som Hospital from Bhubaneswar is expanding in Mumbai, then we cannot give them that valuation multiple. We cannot value them highly. Why? Because it will take them long time to build a brand in Mumbai, and it will take a long time to get the money they have invested back. However, they are investing in Barampur, we will give them a higher valuation. Everyone is able to understand this thesis point, but this is very important in hospital. However, if you look at other businesses, right? if you are a rice trader, or if you are a normal FMCG company, you will open in Mumbai, right? Because these brands work. DMart can open another thing in Karnataka very easily, because these brands work nationally, because rice is rice across India. But hospital care is not depends on the doctor, it depends on the brand. And that's why locality aspect is very much crucial in case of hospitals. Everyone is able to understand this, drop a hell yes in the comment section, because this is one of the most important thesis points in analyzing hospital chains, right? So going forward, we will be looking at various hospitals that are expanding, and we will be analyzing them where they are expanding, right? So first hospital was Children's Hospital. Next we have Pan India hospital chains, which we also talked very briefly about. Pan India hospital chains means there are very less hospital chains which are Pan India. Can anyone tell me a Pan India hospital chain, a hospital chain that is across India? There are very few actually. Apollo, exactly. There is only one actually, Apollo. There is also another one called HCG, but it's cancer hospital, but it's not very well known. Tata is a care is very South India focused. मतलब it's mostly in Visakhapatnam, but very मतलब you have understood what I wanted to ask. So Apollo, of course, Apollo is a pan India, and it's also the most premium hospital business in India. It's valued very highly. And also Narayan Hrudayalaya, it's not that pan India as Apollo, but it has presence in Karnataka and West Bengal. Anyone has heard about Narayan Hrudayalaya, Narayan Hospital? AIMS, Aster, exactly. AIMS is not a private held company. It's an Indian government hospital. So, but AIMS is a Fortis, exactly. Fortis also. Fortis is also, I guess, Fortis is which company? Okay, Fortis is a IHH healthcare company. So yes, Fortis is also a Dr. Agrawal Eye Hospital. Yes. So these are some pan India hospitals are there. So pan Indian hospitals, they get a very good premium on their valuation. Suppose a same company, a same hospital, SOM, gets a valuation of 20 or 20 to 25. Apollo will get a valuation of 60 to 65. Why? Because what I talked about just before, they can open an hospital in Mumbai because they have such strong brand presence. They can open a hospital in Delhi as well. They can go anywhere they want, because from long years they have built this reputation, they have built this brand, right? However, that's why we will look at valuation of these companies, and you will see there is a huge difference in valuation. And why this is? Because of these reasons, right? So I just told you this. Okay, um, Narayan Hrudayalaya has their most of their presence in Karnataka, Kolkata, and they're in Delhi. So this is something that I also wanted to highlight for you guys. Ki brand is most important in case of hospitals. Why? Because the stronger your brand, if Apollo has a very strong brand name, it will have more patients into their hospital, and also better patients for better surgeries, higher end surgeries, even more complicated diseases it can offer. And when you have more footfalls in your hospital, it also means that good doctors will be working for that hospital, because doctors also need job security, they also need higher pay, and that only a hospital with good brand value can provide that, right? So if you are building a brand, you are building it for the long term, and the stronger your brand gets, the higher valuation that you will get in future. And it's not that anyone can come today and build a brand in 1 2 years. It takes, as I told, long amount of time to to at least, you know, set up a hospital. The infrastructure is so big to handle, and to get doctors, to get the entire facility running, it's a long term thing. It takes at least 3 to 5 years to set up a hospital at least. So the existing companies have a great advantage in their business. Now the as I have already told you, why we are looking at this healthcare industry at all. Why did I choose this day? Because in as I told you, now there is a lot of headwinds, lot of growth that is happening in the business of hospitals, and that's the reason why their profits are increasing, their sales are increasing, and lot of these hospitals are expanding, right? And when they're expanding, we are going to look at these expansions, like which company is doing what expansion. And I also wanted to uh, give you an idea about what are the different types of expansion that they can do, right? So everyone should have a should make these notes, because this is so, you know, gold mine of knowledge. Okay, you can understand, okay, how these hospitals are expanding, and we will, when we will be analyzing companies, we will take note of it, right? So first way of expansion is expansion in a new city. For what I just gave you an example, if Som Hospitals, which is in Bhubaneswar, opens another hospital in Barampur, right? So what happens is that you at least have a brand value, right? Okay, in Odisha. So with that helps you to generate business in the new location. And the expected payback period, what do I mean by payback period, is the what is the amount of time you need to get your investment back in profits and revenue. And it takes 2 to 3 years for a hospital if you are expanding in the in a new city but in the same territory. So for example, if we look at an example of suppose a Gangaram hospital which is in Delhi, and it opens another hospital in Delhi, right? So because it has a brand value in Delhi, so it will take him less number of years to get its money back. So this is called a greenfield expansion, right? Then there is called brownfield expansion. So everyone was able to understand greenfield expansion is when you expand in your own brand territory, in a place where everyone knows you, right? And you open a new hospital. So of course it takes a lot of infrastructure and investment, but also you get number of beds. So the payback period is 2 to 3 years. However, what do I mean by brownfield expansion? Is that you increase the number of beds in the same hospital. So for example, if some hospital increases the number of beds in the same hospital, दो स्टोरी और बना लिए, या साइड में you acquire land, and so in the same location where you already have a hospital, it's called brownfield expansion. So you just increase the number of beds in. Do you understand when I say number of beds? right? Number of beds mean the number of patients that they can serve, right? So you can, if you expand the number of beds in the same hospital, so it's called a brownfield expansion. So what is the advantage of a brownfield expansion? Okay, it takes less investment. You don't need to buy another land. You don't need to invest in building an infrastructure. Well, you have to invest very little amount of infrastructure, and also the doctors are already there, the staff is already there. So as the investment is less, the payback is also more quick. You get a 6 to 7 months payback period, right? And this is where the things get interesting. The same greenfield expansion, if you do in a different city, for example what we just talked about, if Som Hospitals wants to set up a hospital in Mumbai instead of Barampur, then what happens? No one knows about Som Hospital in Mumbai, so the brand is not there. So it takes time to build that footfall. It takes time for patients to come, and then you have a payback period of 7 years. So that's not a very wise hospital expansion way. So everyone was able to understand these ways of expansions. Everyone put a hell yes in the comments, because this is very important for everyone to look at hospital businesses. So we will be looking at businesses and where they are expanding. If it's within their brand territory, where their brand is present and thriving. So I will kind of summarize the entire discussion again. We are we just looked at three or four major thesis points in hospital businesses. First, we have lot of supply issue. There is lot of demand, but there is lot less supply in hospital industry. People have money, people want to get a good healthcare service, but there are not enough beds, there are not enough hospitals. People don't want to travel to 500 600 kilometers to get healthcare treatments. But increasing supply of hospitals is a very difficult task. It takes brand, and it also takes investment, and also it takes time. That's why we are looking at this industry, because there is a pent up demand in the healthcare industry, but there is a shortage of supply. And that's why all the existing companies, all the existing hospitals are doing great capex. What do I mean by capex? Capital expenditure. They are building more hospitals, they are increasing their hospital beds. And we just looked at the three types of expansion that they are doing. They are either expanding in the same city or in the same hospital by increasing the number of beds, or by opening a hospital in a new city. Right? So these are the three types of expansions that are happening in the hospital industry. And we also looked at the average profit margin of these hospital industries and the demand mechanic. So this is a brief, overview of the types of the major hospital companies that we have in India, and where they do have their strong presence. Because this is very important for us to understand where they have their brand, where they have their most of their hospitals, because that gives us an idea about the audience, about the demand that they are serving, and also the expansion that they can do. So Narayan Hrudayalaya is mostly present in Karnataka and West Bengal. We'll look at all these companies. There is Kovai Medical, there is Jupiter Lifeline, there is Keems Hospital, there is Rainbows, there is HCG. So we'll be looking at all these hospitals, and you can also see their expected expansion plans. This will be their important thesis points that we'll be looking in hospital industry. The third type of hospital is local hospitals, one state hospitals. And there are many exciting hospitals in this category. Kovai Medical Center, it's based out of Kerala, Coimbatore, but it's a very exciting hospital chain to look into. Then there is Jupiter Hospitals, and this hospital is based out of Mumbai, Indore, and Pune. So these hospitals, as like they have very localized presence, and when these hospitals are expanding, they should expand in their own state or in their own localities, and especially hospitals based out of Mumbai. Uh, it's very interesting to look at these hospitals because there is a huge land shortage. There is not enough land in Mumbai, and if a hospital is expanding in Mumbai, there is huge premium attached to it because there is huge population. However, there is not enough locations which is easily accessible to people. So most of these hospitals are expanding in Dombivali, in very outer sides of Mumbai, right? So with that, we have looked at the brief overview of a hospital industry, the main thesis points I wanted you to understand, because now we'll be looking at individual companies and we'll be analyzing which company is what. So you will be able to analyze only when you understand the nature of the business, the nature of the expansions, right? And with that, we will be analyzing these companies, right? So how we will analyze these companies? I want all of you to make note of each company, because at the end we will also kind of summarize everything in a bit, right? So you can write a lot of stuff actually, but this is the minimum stuff I want you to write to have a very clear view of this session. We'll be looking at each individual companies. We'll be looking at each individual companies, and you can write about their market capitalization, which is basically the size of the company. There is P multiple, which I'll tell you how to find, which is about the valuation of the company, how cheap or expensive a company is. The margin, which is the profitability. Okay, what is the profitability of each company? Number of beds they have, which is the capacity of a hospital, and expansion of beds. Okay, what is the expansion that they are looking at? Everyone is clear what I want you to write? I will give you 30 seconds. You can write it in your notes. Make a column for each uh, parameter, right? I'll wait. Once everyone is done, put a yes in the chat box, then we will start, right? I'll take a 30-second break so till you write this. So everyone has written. Have their notes in place? Send a yes in the comments. Okay. this is the most exciting part of the session because we will be looking at, you know, actual businesses, how they are performing, and we will be pitching them against each other. Okay, which is a better company and all that, right? So, and everyone will be taking notes, and at the end we'll kind of look at the whole picture in a single shot. So these are the companies that we'll be looking at. I have this summary in my hands, but all of you will be also making this. So the first company we are looking at is Narayan Hrudayalaya, right? And you can write it in your notes. The company has a market cap of 25,825 crores. This is a screener website. You can just search in your Google screener. Next time you want to analyze a company, you come to screener, and this is how you will analyze because we will be doing it live. So you can write the market cap, and the stock P is 33.2. Are you able to place this in that screenshot? In the You are able to place the market cap, you are able to place the P ratio, right? So what why we are looking at Narayan Hrudayalaya, and because it's one of the, as we saw. Yes. So as we saw, Narayan Hrudayalaya is one of the hospital chains with a big brand value, right? It's based out of Karnataka, but a lot of people in Odisha also know about it, and it has a good brand value. It has hospitals across Delhi as well. It has in and a lot of hospitals in West Bengal as well, right? And the most notable part of uh, so this is basically a unit of Narayan Hospital in Karnataka. The most interesting reason why we are looking at Narayan Hrudayalaya is that in 2022 it acquired a hospital in Cayman Islands, which is actually outside India, right, for $5 million. And as we just saw, the type of expansions, right, in companies, what do you say? Is it a good expansion or a bad expansion? Narayan Hrudayalaya, which is a uh, company in India, it it acquired a hospital in Cayman Islands, which is in Britain, basically.
It's good because it is doing export of service and goods,
Good.
so it will
Okay,
earn
good
good.
idea. But everyone else, because we just looked at the various type of expansions, right? Why? And everyone can put in the comments as well. Everyone actually should put it in the comments. Sudhir, uh, Aditya, Piyush, Kushal, try to give you a sense. Try to think. If you are buying a hospital, which is it a good decision to buy in Cayman Island? Why? Because brands is the most important thing in hospitals, right? Brand is the most, as we just saw. This is a greenfield expansion in a new territory. Yeah, the return of investment will be more than 7 years. They could have expanded in India. Exactly, exactly. So that's exactly what they are doing. If we look at it, if we look at it, uh, if you look at this, if you this is the 11th number, Narayan Hrudayalaya, they are expanding 1,500 beds in 4 years. Their current capacity is 5,789 beds. Everyone is able to see it in the screenshot. Yes, it's an acquisition. It's not an, but it's still an expansion. But it's an acquisition. It's a inorganic expansion. But everyone is able to look at the sheet. Okay, Narayan Hrudayalaya is in the 11th row, and if you read the concals of Narayan Hrudayalaya, that they are also expanding in India, 1,500 beds, which is roughly 30%, roughly 15 to 30% expansion in Indian territory. And even why buying a hospital in Cayman Island is not actually a good thesis, because it takes time to get the payback period. But one thing to see here is that they have already acquired in 2022. So that is why we are looking at the hospital today. Why? Because they have spent the hard time, the 2 years. And now, if you look at their concall notes, finally, this may be the quarters when the hospital may be giving them positive margins. If you look at the cost and margin guidance of the management, which I have put it in the screenshot, is that their India business has actually given a margin expansion. What do I mean by margin expansion? Is that their profits are increasing in India, but their consolidated profits is that when you include profits from Cayman Island, the profits are becoming less. Why? Because there is problems when you are expanding in a different territory, right? But they have guided that from the next quarters onward, even the Cayman Island facility will be giving them positive ROI. And at the same time, another thesis point is that they're expanding 1500 beds in the next 4 years. So there is capital expansion happening in India as well, which will give them returns from the next 6 months, from the 6 months onwards, right? And of course, they have a good brand value. So that's why instead of 7 years, they have started generating ROI. They have started generating profits in 2 3 years. And if you look at the valuations as well, a hospital like Apollo, which is at 60 PE multiple, you are getting Narayan Rudayalaya at a 30 PE multiple. You have already written 30 PE multiple in your notes. So now you can write the existing bets in your notes. At the end, you will send these notes in the WhatsApp group. So do write it, and this is for your own good. So their existing bets in Narayan Rudayalaya is 5,789, and they are expanding 1,500 beds in the next 4 years. So this is the expansion plan. So the notes that we are preparing, we'll update in that, because at the end it will help us to make a pretty solid judgment about the hospital industry in India. So I'll give you 10 seconds to write it. Everyone put a yes, Eliash, if you have understood the business thesis of Narayan Rudayalaya. Okay, their expansion is happening, right? And they have acquired a new hospital in Cayman Island, which is going to give positive profits in the coming quarters, and a company which is reasonably valued as well, has a good pan India brand name. So these are all, क्या बोलते हैं, सब ग्रहों का सही पोजीशन आ गया है for a company to really deliver. We'll not look at the technical charts now, right? We'll just look at the fundamental charts, or maybe we'll look at the technical charts. Hmm. It's already 10 o'clock. We'll not look at the technical charts, but if you look at the technical charts of Narayan Rudayalaya as well, it's consolidating for last 1 year. It has up and finally at a breakout stage. So from technicals also, um, if you analyze the stock as we did in the last session, how to analyze technical charts of the stock, it also has all the signs of a breakout stock. So this is how you analyze the fundamental side. Okay, what is actually happening in the business? There is expansion happening, there is profit margins are going to expand, and you are looking at capital expenditure within the company. You are also looking at reasonable valuations within the company. This is how you get convinced on the business and fundamental side. And then you look at the chart of the company. You look at whether it's breaking its support or resistance, what is the right price to enter, and that's how you decide on the technical side as well. So I hope everyone has written about it. I'll go to the next company, which is Healthcare Global Enterprises, uh, which is basically HCG. But it's a cancer hospital. uh, I don't have photo of HCG, but it's a cancer hospital. Most of you would have seen it. And if you look at HCG, it has a market cap of 6,000 odd crores, right? But look at the stock PE. Look at the valuation. It's 127 crores. Can anyone tell me, is it cheap or expensive? What was the PE of Narayan Rudale? Can anyone put in the chat? Actually, everyone put in the chat. What was the PE of Narayan Rudale? Exactly. And what is the PE of HCG? What is the PE of HCG? 127. So is it yes, this is expensive. Of course. Of course this is this is pretty expensive company. But why? Why is it so expensive? Can anyone tell me why is it so expensive? Because because yes, KK, yes, of course, it is maybe it treats a rare disease, exactly. It's a specialty hospital. It treats cancer, and cancer costs a lot, even though the number of patients are less. The business, the amount of profit is very high, and the treatment, and it's not easy to open a new cancer hospital just like that. So the business has a high entry barrier. Not everyone can open a cancer hospital, and every patient, and the treatment costs a lot. It has a very specialized treatment, and that's why it is at a very high PE multiple. However, still it should be at 70 to 80 PE, but it's at 127 PE, so it's way more expensive than what it should be. But still, that is why the PE is more. Why are you are getting a Narayan Hrudayalaya at 33 PE, but you are getting a HCG at a 127 PE? This is the reason, right? So this is something this should actually educate your investing brain, because going forward in upcoming sessions we'll be looking at valuations a lot, and we'll be trying to figure out why is the PE the way it is. So there is a reason, because it is a specialty hospital. Also there is a reason that it's the private equity like KKR are looking to purchase the company. So all these factors are kind of contributing to its valuations, right? Yes, exactly. Exactly, Kushal. It is treating a specific disease, so it should be more profitable. Exactly. That is why it's more valuable. क्योंकि it is generating more profits with less revenue. Narayan Rudayalaya with 100 rupees revenue, if it's generating 20 rupees profits, HCG will be generating 30 rupees profit. So if we really go into the profit margins of a company, you will see that it has generated 100 crore operating PAT for the first time in September quarter, and it has a uh, operating profit margin of 18 to 20%, right? And and if you look at the con calls, the the management has guided a 20% margin in the coming quarters. Why? Because they are looking at lot of demand in their business, right? And a lot of patients that which are coming in. So if you read the management guidance, okay, management remains optimistic about maintaining momentum with a focus on operational effectiveness and margin expansion, projecting a move towards 20% EBITDA margin by Q4 of financial year 25. So basically they are reducing the costs of their hospitals, and also their profit margins will increase. So that's with those combined effects they will be generating a 20% margin by next year. So this is how do we know about? Because we read the when we read the con calls where the management comes and gives a guidance about their future business, and that's how we generate these business thesis points. Okay, what will be the future of a company? Is the valuations are justified by that? If I look at HCG today and all these thesis points, and I'll form an opinion based on that. Next, we go to another company. It's called Global Health. It's also known as Medanta Hospitals, and um, as you can see here, this hospital is mostly based out of Delhi and Gurgaon, so North India based, and we will analyze this company in a very similar way, right? Actually, now you will kind of tell me the market capitalization of global health. Can anyone put in the charts? Actually, everyone put in the charts. What is the market cap and P ratio of global health? Is it expensive, or is it reasonably valued, or is it cheap? Is it cheap? So everyone has understood how to read the fundamentals, right? Very basic stuff, but you are able to read, you are able to understand. Exactly. Very good. Everyone, great applaud to everyone because everyone has understood it. Now, give me a little bit commentary about why is it cheap, and if I give you a little bit background about this hospital chain, it's a chain which is a very localized chain in Delhi and Gurgaon, right? And very states is not a pan India chain; it's a state specific chain. Do you think? What do you think? Is it expensive or cheap? If you read about the in the about section, if you are able to read, it's one of the largest private multi-specialty tertiary care providers operating in north and east regions, cardiology, cardiac science, neurosciences, oncology. So they do they are matlab they have general and specialized care as well, but 60p multiple is actually little bit overvalued if you look at a very localized brand like Global Health. If you look at the chart of if you look at the chart of Global Health Medanta hospitals, what do you think? Is it performing well, or it struggling? From 1400 levels, yeah, kind of consolidation, exactly. It came to 1000, from 1400 to 1000. What it was the lowest what it touched, right? What is the percentage of correction from 1400? Actually 1500 to 1000. Yes, so just imagine at 1500 levels, what would have been the P ratio, right? It would have been around 80 to 90, right? And now from 1400 to 1000 is around 5 30%, 25 to 30% correction, right? Right. So why did this correction happen? If you look at the financial, you get a pretty good understanding. Is that their margins? If you look at it, their margins kind of contracted in the last 2 years. It was around 15%, 21%, right? And currently they are back to their normal 22 to 24% margin level. So that was the reason, and also the excess valuations. It corrected for more than 15-20%, and now their numbers are, if they are able to maintain their performance in the coming quarters, if it expands in some way, then we can see, because in the chart it's showing, because in the charts it's showing a good consolidation. So why? So the chart is also related to business. The investors are also kind of in a wait and watch world. Wait and watch. They are watching, okay, how is it performing? Is it able to justify its high valuations? Is it able to give the margins that it wants, that the investor has given such a high valuation for? So it will be interesting to understand and read about business of Medanta. And if you look at Medanta as well, another key thesis point for their high valuation is that, anyone tell me what is their expansion plans and existing bed capacity? You are able to read in the, exactly, they are, so, and their existing bed capacity is, this is the reason why we are looking at the hospital industry, right? the expansion, the extensive capex plans that are happening across the industry. They have existing capacity of 3,000 beds, and they are already doing capacity expansion of 2,900 beds, which is basically 2x capacity expansion. So what will happen? Ki their sales will double in the next 2 3 years. Now an important thing to see is that where are they expanding, like where are they expanding in these next 3 years, right? So if we go to screener, and I'll go and I will global health, global health limited. And if I can search here, okay, for searching you need to log in account. So what we will do, instead of doing it now, we will add it as a thesis pointer for everyone to work on, and we will also look at where they are expanding, and how whether it is in the bucket that we want, whether they are expanding locally or globally. So that's something that we will do later, because it will take some time to find out the exact. So that is why the three important thesis pointers that are happening in global health, Medanta hospitals. One is we just saw is that their margins are expanding, their profit margins are improving, and important thing is to watch it. Okay, what is happening in the next quarters? And another thing is that they are almost doubling their capacity in the next 3 years. So that is also an important thesis pointer in Medanta. So I hope everyone has written in the notes, right? I'll go to the next company. Jupiter Life Sciences. The market capitalization is around 10,000 crores. Stock P is around 60. So pretty much in line with Medanta Hospitals, Global Health. And Jupiter Life Sciences is mostly based out of Mumbai and Pune, Indore. So it's also a state-specific hospital chain, right? If you have seen Jupiter Hospital, right? If you look at the margins at Jupiter Hospital, right, you can see that their margins are in a very healthy bracket of 25%, where we saw a lot of hospitals has it around 18 to 20%, but even they are consistently around 25 to 23 to 25%. And so and even they are expanding. If we look at, if we look at Jupiter, they are they are setting up, actually. Yes, this is a really exciting business expansion. They are setting up a new 500 bed hospital in Dombivli, and as I previously mentioned, that location is one of the most important part in a expansion plan of a hospital. And Mumbai is one of the very exciting regions in India, because of the high population density and also the paying power, right? But there is huge shortage of land and location in Mumbai. So this 200 crore facility that Jupiter is expanding in Dombivli is actually expected as a very major project in their business, and that's why their stock, if you look at their stock chart. If you if you look at the stock chart, while when we saw the charts of other hospitals which were corrected a lot, in case of Jupiter hospitals, they are consistently on a very bullish trend. Why? Because of this expansion guidelines that they have given to their investors, and setting up a new hospital in Dombivli, which is a very major project for them. And we need to watch out how that project plays out, right? So I hope everyone was able to understand the thesis point around Jupiter Lifeline hospitals, right? So drop a hell yes in the comment section if you are following through this fundamental discussion that we are having, and so that we will move on to the next hospital. Everyone drop a hell yes, so that I get some energy around, right? Everyone is able to understand the Jupiter Lifelines business thesis. And next up, also, there is a very state specific hospital chain called Kovai Medical. You would not have seen this because it's we don't have anyone from Kerala here, but it's a very pretty reputed and branded hospital chain in Coimbatore. Also a very pretty exciting set of numbers if you look at, because they are in an industry where there is 18 to 20% profit margin, operating profit margin. They have consistently posted 27 to 30% profit margins for number of years. And if you look at their stock P is pretty reasonably valued. It's around 28, right? It's because they are very state specific. They do not have a very nationalized brand name, but in their domain, in their locality, they are performing very well. They are posting very great numbers, right? And that's why it's so exciting to see. But one of the problems with them was that even though this company was on is a very old hospital chain, they were not into expansion mode, right? But recently they have you know filed with BSE that they are expanding a new hospital project in Chennai, and that's why we are looking at this hospital chain as well. Because what will happen is that in case of this capital expenditures, these hospital expansions that are happening, say new sales, new revenues will get generated, and also better profitability margins also will be following that. And also after that there is Indraprastha Medical Corporation, which is also known as Indraprastha. It's a joint venture between Indraprastha and I think Apollo. um, it's also pretty reasonably valued around 26p. Everyone can write the market capitalization and p in their notes. It's also a very specialized, matlab localized hospital chain around Delhi, I think, Delhi and Gurgaon region. And here also we are looking at expansion. There, if you look at this article, currently the hospital is based on a land parcel of 15 acres, which is nearly 50% underutilized, which has the potential to add 1200 beds. So what they are doing a brownfield expansion, right? Which you just saw. They are expanding in the same hospital area. The company is working on a phase wise expansion under which it has laid out a plan of 300 bed addition in the next 3 years. And it said that the overall expansion of 300 beds will cost around 5 billion rupees, which will be funded through. This is the expansion they are looking at. All these expansions are telling us that there is a huge demand in the market, and the way they are expanding is also will also have a effect on their profitability, new numbers, which incrementally will also reflect in the share prices, in the business results. And that's why we are looking at this hospital industry. And I hope everyone has written all these company names, all the specific parameters I have asked you to write. uh, all of you can send it in the WhatsApp group. All of you can send it in the WhatsApp group, because now we will look at the entire industry. We'll kind of summarize the entire thing, and we'll look at all these companies, and uh, and we will give a proper conclusion to this session. So all of you can send in the group. I will give you 5 3 seconds. I will give you probably a minute. Whatever you have written, no problem. It's perfectly fine. Yes, so everyone is sending their notes. Great stuff. It's important to use your own, matlab, analyze on your own as well, writing, because that's how you will make the best out of these sessions. I highly encourage everyone to write notes, or to write your thoughts, whatever you feel, whatever your learnings are that you want to carry on for your long term goals. So everyone is, let me look at these notes.
There was a question regarding pharma sector. I think I have joined late. I do not know if you have already briefed on it. Could you just repeat it in case you have already discussed regarding the pharma sector as a whole in India?
Yes, so everyone can, I'll do it in within 5 minutes. That will be good revision for everyone as well.
It's
So we are not specifically looking at pharma sector. We are just looking at the hospital sector, the sector which is hospitality sector, which is treating patients and diseases, right? And why we are looking at it? Because there are some macro stuff that is playing out positively in the hospital sector. First, we looked at the global economy growing forward, and India being a very visible leader in the GDP and economy expansion that is happening globally. Then we looked at the current healthcare expenditure in our country, in India. And India lags behind all the developing and as well as developed nations. The percentage of healthcare against GDP is around 3% in India, which is even lesser than Sri Lanka. And the number of beds per 10,000 population is just 15. When you have Vietnam at 26, when you have USA at 29 beds per 10,000 population. And all this was because there was not enough awareness around healthcare, and the awareness around treatment of diseases in India. But now, with the growing income of middle class, with the growing job opportunities, no one is looking to take risks. All this 20 to 40-year demographic which is expanding in India, there is a huge demand for proper healthcare services in India. And why we are looking at it today? Why we are looking at it today is because even other sectors in India like FMCG, like real estate, all saw a huge demand in case of real estate, in case of FMCG, in case of clothing, textile. And it is easy to increase supply of textiles. It is easy to increase supply of for example FMCG, or because it takes 3 to 6 months to manufacture. But it's very difficult to increase supply of hospital beds, because it takes lot of technical expertise. You need doctors, specialized people, you need huge investment, you need proper approvals, and all this means that it takes 3 to 5 years to increase capacity, to increase supply of hospital beds. And even though from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2024, there is huge increase of demand. The supply couldn't increase that fast, and that's why in 2024 we are looking at a lot of capital expenditure in the hospital industry. And we just looked at all these companies are doing, someone is doubling their entire capacity in the next 4 years, someone is adding 40% more capacity, and this is not small stuff that is happening. And that is why we are looking at hospital industry today. And we looked at basic, you know, structure in hospital industry in India. There is public sector government owned hospital, and there are private sector hospitals like Apollo, Fortis, Narayan Rudale. And in India, 67% of market cap is around 67% of hospitals is around private sector companies. There is more trust factor in private sector companies. That is why there is more room for growth and expansion in private sector owned hospitals. We also looked at various types of hospitals, because all these hospitals have different business demographic, a business different business thesis points around them. For example, there is childcare hospitals, which is specialized in treatment of newborns and teenagers. We looked at, and there was a pretty beautiful interactive session that happened. Everyone pitched in why there will be more premium to these hospitals. Even though patients are less, there is more recurring, matlab, there is better relationship with hospitals. Parents of children won't necessarily change their hospital. If you are going to a certain pediatrician, then you are more likely to visit him for the next 7 8 years, right? And that is why there is such a great relationship with these hospitals. And there is even more strict safety standards, even more, matlab, even more, matlab, proper facility and infrastructure is required in case of childcare hospital. And that is why they attract a premium, because not everyone can start a childcare hospital. The amount of approvals are even more stringent, and they are able to charge a premium to their patients compared to other general hospitals. So that's why their ROC is around 18 to 25%. However, industry other general hospitals is around 16 to 18% ROC. We looked at Rainbow Care Hospital, we looked at Cloud9, which are, examples of some children hospital. Then there is another type of hospital called Pan Indian Hospital. This is also hospitals which has huge brand name. There are hospitals like Apollo hospitals, hospital like Narayan Rudale, which has, hospitals across India. And what is the advantage these hospitals have? Because of their location and brand name. Apollo can go and open a new hospital in Mumbai, but Som Hospital can't, because it's an Odisha specific hospital. However, Apollo has a pretty, nationwide brand name. So this brand is what helps you attract better doctors of the country. This brand is what helps you attract better patients of the country. And it takes years and years to build these brands, right? And that's why we saw Apollo gets a huge premium on its valuation. And the most important thing we looked at is the expansion and the types of expansion that is happening in the hospital industry. And we looked at three types of expansion. And the most important thing to see here is that location is the most important thing in case of a hospital, and brand is the most important thing in case of a hospital. People will go to a hospital that they trust, right? And this name that you build for yourself, this brand that hospitals build for themselves, can either be state specific, in a specific city, or it may be, in case of Apollo, it may be across India. So if you are going beyond your brand name, brand territory, suppose an hospital which is Gangaram Hospital, which is famous in Delhi, if it opens another hospital in Delhi, then it takes him 2 to 3 years to get its investment back. But if it opens another hospital in Mumbai, then it takes him 7 years to get its investment back. So, uh, from business angle, I would open a new hospital in Delhi, not in Mumbai. And even better, if I just increase the number of beds in my same hospital that I currently have, then it takes me 6 to 7 months to get my payback period back, right? Which is called a brownfield expansion. We looked at these three types of expansion types. that we analyzed all these companies and their expansion against these expansion thesis. Okay, where they are expanding, what will be the expected payback period, and how it will expect their business valuations going forward, right? So after that we looked at all these companies, Kowai Medical, Jupiter Lifelines, all these companies individually, Narayan Hrudayalaya, we looked at their valuation, their market capitalization, where, and most importantly, their capital expenditure, their expansion plans, where they're expanding, how much they're expanding, and what is their valuations currently, and is it a matlab, a lucrative bet? It is a lucrative business to own, and that's what we did in the last 1.5 hours, and I took around 10 minutes to summarize the entire thing, and I hope it was good revision for everyone. And Kushal has given a pretty good summary of the thing. Everyone has Siddharth has also posted Rudra, so I'm pretty happy. Everyone was working hard, and if I'll do one thing. I'll share someone's. So I'll share Rudra's note because it has pretty very beautiful handwriting. I hope everyone is able to see, right?
Looks like Dr. handwriting. Very good.
It looks like doctor handwriting, but at least we can read it. So we looked at 5 companies: Narayan Hrudayalaya, Health HCG, which is a cancer specialist company; Global Health, which is a Delhi-based hotel chain; Kovai Medical, Coimbatore-based hotel chain; and Indraprastha, Delhi-based hospital chain. And if you look at which uh, considering market capitalization, apart from HCG, everyone is around 20 to 30,000 market capitalization. However, if I personally look at, I would say Narayan Hrudayalaya at 33 PE valuation is pretty cheap. What matlab, um that is my personal observations. Kovai Medical at 28, and if you see Kovai Medical at 28 and Narayan Hrudayalaya at 33p, which one do you think is more cheaper? Can anyone tell me?
Kowai.
Okay, everyone else can put in chat. Narayan Hrudayalaya has a stock PE of 33 and Kovai has 28. Don't just look at the number, also look at the business. Narayan Hrudayalaya is a nationwide hospital chain. It has hospitals in Karnataka, West Bengal, and Delhi. So it can expand in all any of these three territories. Kovai Medical is only based out of Coimbatore, but it has great numbers. It has the best profit margin in the industry. We just saw. So each one has their own strengths. But I will go with Narayan Hrudayalaya. Why? Because it also has 20 to 22% profit margins, operating profit margins, and look at the expansion plans. They are probably expanding around 30%. A national chain at 33p and a state hospital chain at 28p, where you will go? Even though you are paying little more, you will go with Narayan Hrudayalaya. I will go with Narayan Hrudayalaya. Everyone can have their own, because the important thing is to understand the business, right? Then you make your judgments, then you make your decisions. Okay, this is cheaper, this is uh, expensive. As you can see, there is no science to it. There is just business sense. What do you feel is a great business decision? So in case of Kovai Medical, a hospital chain which is very state specific, Coimbatore, they are expanding in Coimbatore and they are giving great numbers, 30% profit margins. So it's a great business opportunity. I agree. At 28p. Narayan Hrudayalaya, a national chain which are expanding around 30-40% of their beds, 1,500 beds in next 4 years. They've acquired another hospital in Cayman Island, so there may be a risk of expanding outside India. And also, but they're a national chain, so they can expand more in future as well. So this is the positive of Narayan Hrudayalaya as well. And I'm getting it at 33p, where a company like Global Health is, I'm getting at 60p. Indraprastha, I'm getting at 30p. So Healthcare Global, I'm getting at 127p. So this is how I will analyze these stocks. Okay, this is cheaper. This is a great business investment. I am getting a good company at a very good valuation. I'll not buy HCG at 127p. Either rather buy a better number company called maybe Narayan Hrudayalaya, maybe Kovai Medical, right? Or better, I will buy all these companies because I am bullish on hospital sector in India. Because as a sector, it is growing. As a sector, it is, as an industry, it has lot of demand to cater. It is growing and everyone is expanding their business, which it tells you something. So this is how we analyzed the entire sector, entire hospital sector. I took help of a lot of YouTube videos for to combine all lot of learnings, which is my very personal learnings to for all of you. And along with that, we made all these notes and our very own understanding and opinions. All of you put it in the chat section, and it was a very interactive session. I'm very proud of how it went. And at the end also, we could take a very constructive decision around it, right? What we will do now, I would love if all of you can look at this image, look at this summary sheet, and give your business acumen. Okay, do you think is a go is a if you could choose a company, one company to invest or two companies to invest out of these five companies, where would you invest, considering you know all about these five companies, right? Anyone would like to go first, or at least give any opinion what you have around the business, or any doubts you have, or any other matlab, some different perspective you want to share, right? Anyone would like to go?
Thank you, Sankalp, for doing this introductory part. It was very good, and I think you have worked very hard on this. So thank you again for that. Secondly, I believe that just checking the PE would, we could also do that. We could also check other metrics, financial metrics also, like what is the cash flow. Maybe you could we could see cash flow statement, and we could see how much cash or how much debt they are having, and we can see that in what position they are in. Are they paying dividends or not? There are two things which I would like to check in all these things. Maybe I will just check it and post it in the group
Yes,
once.
exactly. Yes, that's a very constructive thing that Jimit shared. Okay, there are a lot of other matrices also to look at. I wanted to keep it very simple for everyone so that they can take, because just think, now we have just two matrices here. One is the valuation, which is P, and the expansion plans. Based upon only these two matrices, we are taking a decision. If you involve all these other matrices, the dividend payout, the cash flow, you know, you you must be getting an idea about how difficult and how uncommon it is to analyze a company and to compare also different companies, because every company, every business is very different. The numbers are very different. A, B, C, D may be better in Narayan Hrudayalaya. H, G, I, J, K may be better in Kovai Medical, right? Someone may have a better low debt, someone may have better profits, someone may have better promoter capital, someone may have. So there are a lot of terms, there are a lot of other uh, things also someone people need to understand. Today, if I look at this session, at least everyone understand how to look at PE ratio, how to understand market capitalization, how to look at expansions of companies based upon industries, right? And if you are able to take these three things out of this session, then you have learned something very very valuable over the last 1.5 hours. because you just didn't look at a theory session. You are looking at real time economy, you are looking at real time businesses, and you are analyzing these businesses as well as learning these fundamental concepts on the way, right? So I would encourage everyone ki after going from this session, you should search and you should try to learn about what is a P ratio. You should learn about what is a market capitalization, right? You should learn about expansion, capital expenditures. These are some accounting concepts, but we used it in analyzing companies. Now you have a sense of what it is. Now you should research about it a little bit today, tomorrow. Next time we will be looking at these three as well as some other three matrices. We will add this thing and the complexity. The chess will become a 5D chess. It will become even more analytical and even more challenging and exciting at the same time. We'll do that. We'll prepare a very good framework to analyze companies around a fundamental. Anyone who would like to pitch in any of their perspective?
Feedback wanted to say that Jupiter and one more stock, Yatharth, is a good buy.
Yes, Yatharth, I think I shared it. Yatharth also had good, exciting expansion plans. So, uh, the most important thing is we are able to form some opinions. We are able to form some decisions, right? So, and we did it based upon this very three basic uh, data points that we have plotted here. So, I would say this session was a pretty, exciting learning session. Everyone has learned something. Everyone was very active in the chat section. Everyone was messaging. Everyone was interacting, thinking. I am I'm pretty happy how this went. And yes, because
Yeah, is my voice audible?
yes, your voice is audible. Yes,
Yeah, it was a great session. I just wanted to add one thing.
yes,
1 second, 1 second. So, sorry, give me 2 minutes.
sure. So everyone can share their perspectives. Throughout the session, you can write it in your notes as well. I will give some time from next time, 5 minutes for everyone to discuss it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. We covered the financial angle, but in a hospital sector, there is one more promising view that is
Your voice is not audible, Pithas. Again, okay,
yeah. Is it audible now?
no, yes, it's audible now.
Yeah, I was just trying to add one further thing like what Jimmy told. In addition to financial ratios and analysis, we can look at operational ratios with compared to the financial in hospital sector because that plays a more promising role. Like how you mentioned number of beds. So the revenue per bed or revenue per patient is very important in a hospital sector.
Exactly,
That shows the caliber of the hospital.
exactly, exactly. That's a very important metric,
Like
actually.
how you mentioned about Rainbow Hospital, why Rainbow is doing well compared to all other hospitals in India is because it has very few number of beds, but the revenue per bed is far better than compared to all other hospitals in India.
That's pretty
What
wonderful.
does the hospital do? Is it specializing somewhere?
Yeah, it's childcare.
Yeah, it's specialized in childcare and also maternity, like maternity and childcare.
Okay,
I
okay.
didn't know that actually. I didn't know that. And so that's a pretty good analysis you have put in here. So actually, it's pretty. Matlab, it's true that operational efficiencies are one of the major parts of uh, understanding hospital businesses because lot of it depends upon operational efficiency and cost control in the operational level. So that's also actually very important metrics for everyone to look out. I would suggest everyone when you are analyzing the hospital industry now, when we will go and all everyone has put out these summaries, you add operational efficiency, revenue per bed, right? We can put it in the group, like what will be some 2 3 matrices around operational efficiency that everyone can look at, right? So that's also very positive contribution. Thanks with us for pointing that out. And I'm sorry everyone, lot of I could not see lot of charts has been sent by people. I'm pretty sorry. Amit has given his notes. um, Everyone has also given their summary of around and justification around which company they would prefer. So I missed out on reading it. I'll go through it. So Amit has told NH Narayan Rudhala and Kovai. Sudhir has also talked about Medanta. Pitwas has talked about Ratharth, Rainbow, and he also said a very uncommon, something that we didn't know about Rainbow, a pretty good business thesis point. Uh, Siddhartha has talked about HCG because it's a high entry barrier. It's a good point around that. Jupiter Life, they are going to double their capacity, so there may be uh, higher profitability. Indraprastha, they are also doubling their capacity. So good, good in business points for someone, for you to figure out. Kushal has asked ki PEG. So yes, PEG is better than PE, but in case of growth companies, hospitals are not essentially growth companies, but and also you need some amount of conceptual clarity to understand PEG. So first, if everyone understands P ratio today, we will during our next fundamental session we will include understanding PEG ratio. It's most around PEG ratio is most valuable around startups and highly IT companies which are growing at a very fast rate. Um, so actually PEG is a better ratio than PE, of course. So I'm very happy the way everyone has contributed towards today's discussion. And I will admit that what I knew about hospital sector while presenting this video and while listening to everyone and all of your analysis and all of your contributions, I even my knowledge has improved in some way. And today's session was a very very effective, very very entertaining and understanding session. All of you were very energetic. I am very happy that the way this session has gone. And next week we will figure out. I'll send in the WhatsApp group in advance what we are going to discuss. And so it is already 10:48. 2 hours we have spent here, and it feels like feels very energetic. And so this tells us, right, okay, how well this session has gone. So thanks all of you. I'll say good night. For the next session, do attend it. The next session will be even more exciting. We will be right. Thank you everyone. So with that, good night to everyone, and happy learning. Keep educating yourself. Right. Good night. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye bye. Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. ಕೂಡ ಪਹੁಂಚಲು